Good evening, everyone, and wish you all a very happy Diwali. Thank you so much for taking out time from your busy schedules on this auspicious occasion. And we couldn't find any other person better than Mr. Nilesh Shah, who is Group President and Managing Director of Kotak Mahindra Asset Management Company, to be with us to share his valuable time and thoughts. I believe Diwali is a festival when everyone expects Ma Lakshmi and Gurus to come our home, and Mr. Nilesh is a guard to the same, and I believe his visionary view and the strategies of investing will definitely help people to bring Ma Goddess to our home. Mr. Nilesh Shah needs no introduction, but I always love to introduce him because he's one of my favorite speaker for the last so many decades. Nilesh is managing director of Kotak KMC, and he leads his team to the best fund house of the year award at all the mutual funds where he has worked, vis-a-vis like Kotak, ICICI Prudential, and Franklin Templeton Mutual Fund. Nilesh is part-time member of the Economic Advisory Council of Prime Minister. He is the part-time member of Unique Identification Authority of India, which is UIDAI, and he's a member of the Board of Association of Mutual Funds in India and a member of COBOSAC committee of SEBI, which is Corporate Bonds and Corporate Bonds Securitization Advisory Committee. So I believe with his visionary, with his expertise, and with his simplicity, I would say this session is gonna be very interesting. I would like to welcome Mr. Nilesh to share his thoughts with us. And Nilesh भाई, आपको सुनने का जो excitement है, मुझे लगता है कि 60 minutes is also very less to hear from you, but still I know you have something specific to share. So without taking much of your time, I will just invite you to share your valuable thoughts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mohit Bhai. Very good evening to everyone. First of all, today on the auspicious day of Dhanteras, let me take the opportunity to wish you and your loved ones a very, very happy Dhanteras and very, very happy Diwali. जनरली हमने देखा है कि हर नए साल के शुरुआत में लोग ये कहते हैं अगला साल कैसा दिखता है. People want to figure out what's going to happen from one year to another year. But equity is never invested with 1 year in mind. Wealth is never created with 1 year in mind. Wealth is created when you look far ahead. In equity investments, you have to make 5 year, 10 year, 15 year investment. Why do people not take a long term call, and why do they get restricted to short term? A lot of it is related to our past experience. We have seen India grow. We were, waiting 10 years to get a scooter. We were waiting 10 years to get a telephone line. Today, we are getting instant phone and instant motorbike or scooter. Despite this kind of changes, we are not able to correlate to that. And partly that is happening because we keep on hearing so much of noise around us. आज यहाँ पे ये हो गया, कल वहाँ पे ये हो गया. That's why this presentation which I have prepared is to share with you how India is transforming and why it makes sense for you to take a 10-year, 15-year view on India. Avinash, can we share the presentation, please? Perfect.
Avinash, you can put it on the viewer mode, please. Full screen. Abol, can we do it to the full screen? Yeah, thank you. Uh, 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 mm, okay, I think Nilesh bhai, we can start. In the meanwhile, technology works.
Sure. So let me talk about how India is changing. There was a time when a magazine like Economist used to describe us as an elephant. जब भी वो इंडिया की स्टोरी पब्लिश करते थे, पहले एलिफेंट का फोटो रहता था ऐसे।
Hmm.
आज जब वो स्टोरी पब्लिश करते हैं, हमें टाइगर की तरह बताते हैं। एलिफेंट्स आर स्लो एंड स्टेडी, टाइगर आर फास्ट एंड फेरोशियस। बस इतनी बदलाव हुआ है भारत के बारे में। लेट्स लुक एट हाउ थिंग्स हैव चेंज्ड टुडे। व्हेन वी लुक एट इंडिया, it is almost like Birbal ki story. Akbar Raja asked Birbal to make a line bigger without touching it. Birbal drew a small line below. The above line looked bigger. Same thing is happening with India. We are doing well, and other countries are not doing well, which is making us even better and brighter than what we are doing. India today is the fastest growing major economy. It's going to become third largest major economy by 2030. This is as per Standard and Poor's. IMF is saying will become third largest by 2027. Anywhere between 27 to 30 will become third largest economy. 6 out of top 10 fastest growing cities of the world are in India today. And there are so many cities in India which don't disclose what they are doing. If they start disclosing what they're actually doing, then maybe 9 out of top 10 fastest growing cities of the world are in India. Our banking system is in a very, very good shape. Sometime back, there was rumor about SVB, the 16th largest bank in America, going into bankruptcy. We have a small bank in Mumbai called Shamrao Vittal Cooperative Bank. They had to announce a press release. They had to issue a press release that when you hear SVP, that doesn't mean us. We are in a perfect condition. It is the American bank which is going down. That is the position of India's banking system, that the largest American bank going down is impacting the smallest Indian bank. We are growing at a fast pace. The state in which we belong, Maharashtra, today has same GDP which whole of India had in 2005. In 17 years, Maharashtra has reached where yesterday India was. In 2001, UP and Uttarakhand were combined. Today, UP Uttarakhand's combined GDP is equivalent to 2001 India. And three other states, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Gujarat, has equivalent GDP of 2000 India. In 20 years, these six states have reached where yesterday India was. Over next 20 years, if all of us continue to work as hard as we have worked in last 20 years, can these six states create today's India? Answer is quite likely. पहले करके दिखाया है, आगे भी कर देंगे. That means in front of us, 5 times today's India will be created between Maharashtra, UP, Uttarakhand, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Gujarat. There are 23 other states which are also doing something. So in front of us, India will become 5 times and 10 times bigger in our lifetime. The best part about our growth, it is coming with prudence. In countries like Italy, Spain, UK, US, Canada, they have to borrow $2, $3, $4 of debt to create $1 of GDP. India's case, GDP growth and debt growth is almost similar. In a very simple word, the American, the Canadian, the English parents are mortgaging the future of their kid to sustain their present, to sustain their present lifestyle. हम अपने बच्चों की आंख में आंख मिला के कहेंगे कि बेटा हमने आपका भविष्य गिरवी रख के हमारा वर्तमान नहीं अच्छा किया है. But those guys will not be able to say that. If we look at from one crisis to another crisis, that is subprime to COVID, India is the only major economy in the world which has improved its debt to GDP ratio. Everyone has added debt. We are the only country which has reduced as a percentage of our GDP the total debt burden. It shows we are prudent. Undoubtedly, global situation is challenging. Markets are confused. Stocks, oil prices, gold, interest rates, commercial real estate, housing prices, they are all giving different indication. Globally, central bankers raised interest rates because inflation was running very, very high. That brought down inflation. Now, in most countries, inflation is mid single digit. However, the impact of higher interest rate is resulting into slowing global growth, and some countries like China, Germany are facing deflation or recession. US itself has so far avoided recession, but Fed's own signal of recession is nearly at all-time high level. Eurozone obviously is aging and is in a serious situation. China GDP has slowed down, exports have declined, unemployment has risen so much that they have stopped publishing unemployment number. Next slide, please. US Fed is saying higher for longer, but what is certain is that US debt is likely to remain higher for longer. At one point of time, American debt was 50% of their GDP. Today, it is 125% of their GDP, touching $33.7 trillion. This chart explains how America's debt problem is. जो लाल कलर का पोर्शन है that shows America's debt mountain, $33.7 trillion. The green color shows the taxes and revenue which is earned by American government. The orange color is the deficit which American government has to fund by borrowing money. Now, if you see in this picture, only orange, the deficit, green, the income, and red, the debt is visible. How will this debt get serviced? This has to be serviced from the surplus from tax revenue. If you focus very, very high, then somewhere you can see a slight green sliver. From that, they have to service this mountain. You can very well imagine how much debt burden American economy is carrying. In America, we are seeing K-shaped recovery, rich becoming richer, poor becoming poorer. The number of kids who are staying with their parents today is higher than what it was in the 1940. बेचारे बच्चों के पास अब घर खरीदने के पैसे नहीं है तो माँ बाप के साथ रह रहे हैं. Despite all these things, markets are volatile, markets are not volatile, markets are not fearful, and which is a cause of concern. In India's case, as I mentioned, अपनी तो बिरबल की कहानी है. There is a Triveni Sangam in our Amrit Kal. Triveni Sangam of talent, capital, and infrastructure. What do I mean by this? In the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, जो अपनी talent थी, Satya Nadella, Sundar Pichai, Shantanu Narayan, they left India to work abroad. Today, Shantanu Narayan is making a statement. If I was growing up right now, no way I would leave Hyderabad to go to US. Talent is now staying back in India. But this talent requires capital. Earlier, if my parent did not have money, I would not have become entrepreneur. Now, there are 90,000 startups set up by first generation, second generation entrepreneur, which has received funding from private equity and venture capital funds. $140 billion has been poured into this 90,000 startups. So टैलेंट को कैपिटल की शॉर्टेज नहीं है, अच्छा आइडिया है, लोग पैसा देने के लिए तैयार है. Talent and capital can create wonders provided they have infrastructure. A Bajaj a Bajaj group can export scooters all over the world because they make most cost effective scooters. But infrastructure चाहिए उन्हें export करने के लिए. Between 2014 to 24, in 10 years, we have built as much infrastructure as was built before 2013. जो 67 सालों में इंडिपेंडेंस के बाद किया, उतना काम इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में सिर्फ 10 सालों में 2014 से 24 में किया. रेलवे, हाईवे, एयरपोर्ट, पोर्ट, पावर, टेलीकॉम, everything is almost doubling. Now you imagine, टैलेंट को कैपिटल मिल गया और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर मिल गया. They will create world class companies in India. They will create jobs, growth, development in India, and which is why हमारी growth story अच्छा कर रही है. And now there is ambition. एक समय था गोरा हमें फोन करता था, हम खड़े होके बात करते थे. वो हमें चलने को कहें तो हम झुक के दौड़ते थे. But now there is no fear of global competition. Like Bajaj Auto was willing to take Chinese manufacturers head on. That fearlessness has now come to Indian entrepreneurs. Look at Amul. It is run by farmers. It's a cooperative society. And Amul is saying, today I am India's largest FMCG company with $7 billion turnover. By 2047, I will become world's largest FMCG company with $220 billion turnover. Forget Tata's, Birla's, Ambani's, Adani's, Bajaj. Farmers of India now have global ambition. Now, are there challenges to Indian economy and market? Yes, oil prices had risen to almost triple digit thanks to Middle Eastern crisis. This year monsoon has been little bit deficient. Rural economy is still struggling because of the COVID and monsoon shock. And IT sector, India's bellwether employment creating sector, is going through job cuts right now. Oil prices had touched $95. In recent times, they have come down to $82. So कभी कभी ऐसा लगता है ऊपर भगवान भारतीय बैठा है, वो ऑयल को नीचे लेके आया. Monsoon in the month of August was about 16% deficient. Today it is 6% deficient. But we believe Kharif crop will get impacted, especially because of lower monsoon in Bihar, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, and West Bengal. And the Rabi crop will get impacted, especially because of lower monsoon in Kerala and parts of South Karnataka. But despite that, I think we will still be in a positive trajectory, positive growth in agriculture. The FMCG sales for the September quarter were subdued. This festival season, we are hopeful that people will come out and spend, and vocal for local is picking up quite nicely. Instead of importing from China, this time I'm seeing a lot of lights which are made in India, a lot of flower garlands which are made in India. So hopefully vocal for local combined will create boost to rural economy and FMCG sales. IT sector for last 3 quarters haven't hired. In fact, they have retrenched. Let's hope and pray this turns around quickly. Mid-cap IT companies are doing well in terms of recruitment, but large-cap IT companies are facing challenges. Our real challenge is the freebie culture which is now prevailing in India. Every government, every political party wants to win election by providing free food, free electricity, and cash allowances. Two countries which got destroyed for by following this kind of economic policies are Venezuela and South Africa. Let's hope and pray our political parties only talk and they don't walk on the path of freebies. Now, converting this into India market, well, if you see in the Western world, markets have run up way ahead of fundamentals. Growth is zero, markets are up 15-20%. Growth is under 5%, markets are up 40%. Clearly, Western markets will have to take a breather so that fundamentals can catch up with the prices. India has delivered great return to investors. We have delivered 1.5 times return to our peer group in last 20 years. We have delivered almost 4 times more return to our peers in last 9 years. Our valuations are reasonable. Mid caps and small caps are at a slightly higher premium to historical average. Large caps are around their historical averages. If you have to invest in today's market, stay away from mini cap, micro cap, and SME exchange. Small cap stocks, be little careful. And large and mid cap, you can invest without too much of a worry. But make sure that you invest in quality companies which are available at reasonable valuations and which you are willing to hold for a long period of time. Why are we little bit cautious on small and mid cap? Because their weights in indices has almost doubled over last 2 decades, and they are now trading at valuations which were generally looked expensive and went into correction mode in the past. So small mid cap little bit cautious, larger mid cap one can invest without any worry. Next slide please. Next slide please. Next slide please. We believe global investors will continue to invest in India as long as we deliver on 3G. Our profit growth, our earnings growth should be better than our peers. Our governance standards or respect for external capital should be better than our peers. And we should provide green transformation of our economy. India is the lowest per capita carbon emitter in the world. We must maintain that trend line. Ultimately, stock prices are slave of earning. If earning grows 15-20%, market cap will grow at 15-20%. And we have seen over last 4 years, profit growth and market cap growth has moved in similar direction and in tandem. Our GDP, as I mentioned earlier, will multiply 5 times in just 6 states over next 20 years. Our country will grow 5 times, 10 times over next 20 years. If GDP grows, corporates will grow. If corporate grows, corporate profitability will grow. And if corporate profitability grows, market cap will also follow. One more reason why global investors will look at India positively, because in India, you can book profit and get an exit. Between October 21 to June 22, foreigners sold 250,000 crore of stock and market prices fell just 10%. In no other market in the world, they'll be able to sell $35 billion and take them out. In China, very recently, Dr. Mark Mobius sold his shares, but he was not allowed to take it back. In India, You can take as much money as you want, and which is why people will be comfortable investing with us. Next slide, please. Will there be straight line in market? Answer is no. Events continue to impact market. When will US Fed stop raising rates? Will they start cutting rates by middle of 24? Will there be BJP government, NDA government in May 24 election? Will oil prices remain at 80 or will it go to 100 thanks to Middle Eastern conflict? What will happen to monsoon, especially Rabi crop impact? All those events will have a role to play on our market. If those events turn positive, our markets will rise. If those events turn negative, then there could be correction. Just one sec. If those events turn out to be negative, then there could be correction. But do remember the long term growth story of India. The fastest growing cities of the world in India. States which will become as big as today's India: UP, Uttarakhand, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Karnataka. Look at companies which will become globally largest companies: Tata's, Birla's, Ambani's, Adani's, Bajaj's, and even Amul. Put all these things together. These are all speed breakers. But our journey is going to be far more smoother over a longer period of time. Now, let me talk about one question which is there in the minds of everyone: election. If we look at market, they always try to predict future, even if they are right or even if they are wrong. Let's look at what happened in 2004. In 2004, markets were rising because of India Shining campaign. Everyone thought Atal Bihari Vajpayee Sarkar will come back. On the result day, they realized that they are not coming back. Markets went down 20% in one single day. But thereafter, what happened? Market forgot that and it started moving up based on fundamentals. So, yes, if there is a shock to the market in terms of government formation, there could be a correction. But thereafter, fundamentals prevail. What happened in 2009? Markets were correcting because there was fear about the government formation. Just ahead of election, there was expectation of a stable government, UPA 2, and markets recovered. On the result, the market realized that UPA 2 has come back with more number of seats than UPA 1. Market went up 20% circuit, and thereafter it continued to rise. So when market gets a surprise of a government, more seats than expected, then market can go up. 2014, what happened? First half of 2013, market was stable, not going anywhere. September 13 onwards, there was hope that Modi Sarkar is coming. It started moving up. On the result day, they saw absolute majority NDA government. Markets went up, not 20% because it had discounted a lot of it before, and thereafter it continued to rise. 2019, markets were rising in expectation of Modi Sarkar. Ahead of election result, there was some fear, some profit booking. Post-election result, when they saw 300 seats, market recovered all the losses and started moving up. Limited point, market can never predict election 100% accurately. In 4 and 9, it went wrong. 14 and 19, it was right. On the day of result, undoubtedly surprise or a shock can move the market. But thereafter, fundamentals prevail. Election 24, we believe, will be more like 2019. It's going steadily up ahead of the election. Maybe, no guarantee, but maybe there will be some profit booking if there is doubt about the election outcome. And post that, depending upon shock or a surprise, markets will have a reaction and start moving based on fundamentals. We still believe the long term India growth story is intact and one should stay invested. What will be the risk for our growth story? Oil, inflation, interest rates, monsoon, these are all speed breakers. They are not going to make us U turn. Our risk remains risk of self growth, and that is visible between Singur and Sanand. Singur, Singur, where Tata's wanted to set up their nano factory plant, uh, they threw Tata's out. Today, when you go to Singur, neither there is an automobile plant of Tata, nor there is jobs, development, growth. It's a poor, underdeveloped part of India. Tatas, when they were moving out, it is said that Chief Minister Narendra Modi sent SMS welcome to Sri Ratan Tata. Tata's landed up in Sanand. Their nano factory started rolling out motor cars in 18 months. Nano didn't work, but Tata Motors plant worked. Then Maruti came and set up their plant. Today, Sanand exports $3 billion worth of automobiles. If you go to Sanand, it is not like Singapore, but it is 100 times better than Singur. There are jobs, there are development, there is growth, there is school, there is college, there is shopping malls. Kids are going to school for employment. People are coming from all over India. If whole of India follows Sanand model, no one can stop us. If whole of India follows Singur model, there is no hope for us. Let us hope and pray Indians don't make self goal and they follow Sanand model of creating jobs, development, and growth. This is my final slide in the presentation. The left hand side picture is of a step well called Bansilal Pet in Hyderabad, Telangana. In some sense, this picture represents our economy prior to 1990. License permit Raj, import restrictions, complete control of government over businesses and entrepreneurship. Like this picture, India was poor, underdeveloped, unmaintained. With the help of citizens and NGOs and government, today Bansilal Pet has become tourist attraction. It is tourist attraction in the city of Hyderabad. Our economy is also transiting from left to right, and by 2047, hopefully, our economy will be as good as the right hand side picture, a developed economy, a large economy, and an inclusive economy where poor and rich both have participated in the growth story. With this, I'll end my presentation, but happy to take questions.
Thank you so much, Nilesh bhai. I must say, throughout the presentation, who are the viewers didn't even wink the eyes, considering the kind of simplicity you thrown in the deck of yours, where you touched upon the macro level economy situations globally, how the geopolitics is impacting the businesses across India, across other countries, how India growth story look like, how the elections will have impact, what kind of sectors and what kind of SEBI mutual fund categories one should look at. I believe you have covered most of the things. Uh, just from the interest of some first time viewers as well as for the seasoned customers, what exactly is your suggestions or advice to such kind of investors in this current scenario when markets are volatile, there are geopolitical situations? So from the customer who is not entered in the mutual fund industry ever and looking for some kind of investment venues, and for the customers who have already invested large sum of money and they want uh, to understand whether it is a profit booking time or whether should invest in a staggered way. So what exactly you suggest to them?
So, Mohit, by anyone who doesn't have time, inclination, or who is first timer and who wants to invest lump sum,
Hmm.
my recommendation is go for Kotak Multi Asset Allocation Fund.
Hmm.
In this fund manager divides between debt, equity, gold, and silver.
Okay.
Our objective is to generate real return, a positive return over inflation.
Okay.
This fund does asset allocation, a service which is available to HNIs by their private bankers. We are
Hmm.
providing for the common men of India.
Okay.
Now, obviously, once you have accepted asset allocation fund, you must do systematic investment plan.
Right.
This regular investment from your salary every month into equity mutual fund.
Right.
Little drops of water make an ocean. This
Yeah.
regular SIP over a period of time can create your financial nest.
Hmm.
मोहित मैं एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल देता हूँ. मेरे एक दोस्त है प्रदीप भाई करके, बैंक में काम करते हैं, एक्सिस बैंक में.
हाँ जी.
तो वो सबको एसआईपी करते रहते थे.
Hmm.
उन्होंने अपने ड्राइवर के लिए भी 2,000 रुपए की एसआईपी प्रति माह चालू कर दी.
Okay.
फिर उनका तबादला हो गया दिल्ली से बॉम्बे, तो
Hmm.
he had to leave that driver, but that money continued.
Right.
Very recently, the driver came saying that, Pradeep bhai, if we can get that money, because
Hmm.
my daughter is getting married.
Hmm.
Pradeep bhai had invested in 54 months, 2,000 rupees each, 1,08,000.
Hmm.
That money in SIP over a decade plus became 4.5 lakh rupees.
Oh
More
wow.
importantly, this money was redeemed and paid back to the driver on the third day. In 3 days,
Okay.
he got the money.
Hmm.
फॉर पुअर पीपल, मोहित भाई, पैसा टाइम पे मिल जाए वो बहुत बड़ी बात है.
Absolutely.
उसको ये यकीन नहीं होता था कि 3 दिन में पैसा बैंक अकाउंट में आ सकता है. एंड
Right.
1 लाख का 4 लाख, वो तो उसके लिए उससे भी बड़ी बात थी.
Absolutely.
तो
Absolutely.
डू रेगुलर SIP,
Right.
डू लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट,
Hmm.
and if you don't want to do any janjat, then just invest in asset allocation fund.
Hmm. I think that is the right approach. In fact, there are so many people who come to me also to check so where to invest, what to do, whether to invest in stocks and equities. So I also suggest only one thing, that if you are so comfortable and so adverse with the markets and the industry that you can track the equities on a very regular basis and you can take the investment decisions, then it makes sense. Otherwise, leave it to the experts who are managing the portfolio and having the expertise to manage the funds at a larger scale. So I believe mutual fund is the right way to invest at that particular time. Right. Okay, Nilesh bhai, thank you so much. I believe I had a couple of more questions, but you mostly covered during your presentation. And I believe this Diwali becomes very auspicious for each one of us and for all the viewers. And Ma Goddess and Lakshmi definitely come to our home and give us their blessings. And that's what I can just expect from the divine power. So, with this, thank you so much, Nilesh bhai, and thank you so much, all the viewers. Once again, happy Dhanteras, happy Diwali to all of you. And Nilesh bhai, if you have any closing remarks for us, it will be a like a great word for
See,
you.
मोहित भाई, आज धनतेरस का दिन है. पुराने जमाने में लोग सोना लेके आते थे धनतेरस के दिन.
हाँ
मैं
जी,
कहूंगा आज अपने बच्चों या बच्ची के नाम पे SIP कर दीजिए एंड इसे
absolutely
चालू रखना.
right,
एंड फिर 5 साल, 10 साल, 15 साल बाद हम मिलेंगे वापस ऐसे ही कोई धनतेरस के दिन पे, एंड
हाँ
यू
जी.
विल थैंक मी दैट वी स्टार्टेड दैट SIP.
Definitely. I will definitely ask my marketing team to just note it as a special word from you that yes, this Dhanteras, don't just go for materialistic things, but go for a goal, for a longer horizon for your family and for your children. And definitely it will do wonders. Thank you so much, Nilesh Bhai, and thank you all
थैंक
the
यू.
viewers. Have a happy and safe Diwali. Thank you so much.
थैंक यू. बाय.